Good evening and welcome to another Monday Night Live here at Precision Golf in the UK. Simon and I, every week here at 6 p.m, covering all of your questions on golf equipment and golf coaching. James always behind the discs, spinning them, controlling the cameras. Simon, another busy week.
Yes, yeah, busy at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, this place is buzzing. We've got all and sundry coming in and out of the front door, which is exciting. I think it just really just shows you where the game is at. It's really exciting to see so many people loving the game, playing it, even though we've had a bit of a wet time here in the UK. Probably not the same for you guys that are cocktailing in the Floridian.
And 2024 has not been good in the UK at all, has it?
No, really not. You've been out on the course at all?
No, Saturday, but coming up, but thankfully a links course. So
nice, that'll be nice and dry. Super. As usual, we have both our iPads and you can fire us over any questions that you may have for Simon or I. Simon, obviously on the equipment side, and myself on anything golf coaching. We'll do our best to get through them. They usually come in quickly and in plenty of volume, so do get them in nice and early so we can get those answers for you. We've got some new people on the channel that I've seen. Zimmer is on. Hello Zimmer, nice to see you. I don't think we've seen Zimmer before. I don't seem to remember. Would you play a low spin ball in the winter period due to softer greens?
I mean, not necessarily. It's not a necessity. I think for a lot of people, the requirement to play a premium spinny golf ball in winter is greatly reduced. Actually, there's some argument to say in very cold temperatures, a softer core ball, you're not going to hit it quite as hard. You can at moderate speed. It's more important to get that reaction from the core and get a little bit more response from the ball. But it's going to plug anyway, isn't it? So the last thing you want is it coming back towards you. So and you generally get kind of a slightly heavier air, maybe a bit more wind in winter time as well. So the lower spin ball from a flight point of view, it might bore through the air a little bit more. But quite frankly, you could play an absolute pebble in winter over here and it's going to stop. So depending on your ground conditions, chances are it's unlikely to make that much difference.
Friday the 20th, stick it in your diary, of December. We are going to do a 2-hour winter special. We're going to have some guests on and we're actually throwing it out to you guys and girls that may live close by or not close by. You might want to jump on a plane. Come and join us for the evening. A couple of hours. We're going to have some tea and nibbles. Simon and I and James are going to be dressed up as 3 reindeer or not, who knows. But we'd love to have you along. If you would like to join us in the studio for a live audience, drop us a line at Stuart, James or Simon at precisiongolf.co.uk and we will get an invitation out to you so you can come along and join us. But Friday the 20th of December, it'll be 6 till 8 p.m. Join us for a little pork pie and a shreddy.
What have you just done? Reindeers.
Who knows?
Maybe a red nose.
Yeah, you never know.
And some antlers.
You never know. Aidan, is it me or do RTX6 wedges have a sharp leading edge, 50 and 56 mid-dig more grind, mid-dig more compared to Vokey F50, 12 and 56 S grind?
Give me 2 seconds, I'm going to grab the 2 heads.
I'll tell you what, these names of these golf clubs, I mean, dear me, it's like Morse code, for heaven's sake. We'll jump over to, while Simon does that, we'll jump over to Charlie on my channel, who is asking about really struggling with set hinge of the golf club. Modern teaching says keep the club head outside the hands in takeaway. From there on, I am doomed. No hinge, no speed, no distance. Help. Okay, let's talk to you about, first of all, club head out in front of the hands. Simon, why not? Do you want to discuss those wedges?
I'll do it very quickly.
Yeah. So really quickly.
One of the things with the Cleveland wedges in the mid grinds of the higher lofts, they have quite a lot of camber. So if I put these 2 down here, compare the higher lofts. You've got a Vokey S grind here. So you can see there's plenty of bounce on this top section there and tapers down towards the leading edge. The Cleveland, there is a bit more sharpness onto that front edge. So whilst there's plenty of bounce here, move that a bit closer to the camera, whilst there's plenty of bounce on the top, that is quite a sharp leading edge. So relative to, I'll switch it back to the Vokey, has a little bit more roundness on the leading edge. The Cleveland will dig a little bit more. And if I go into the lower loft, Cleveland on this side, Vokey on the other side, very, very similar. Less of an issue on the low lofts. One of the things you can do, if you like the Cleveland wedges and you wanted to make them less diggy, and if you go for the Tour Rack raw finish, you can actually, you can what we call kill the leading edge. You can blunt the leading edge. You can grind that leading edge off a little bit just to angle it and soften it. But you've got to go into the raw finish, otherwise you might knacker the chrome.
Very good.
Okay.
Nicely summarised.
Thank you very much.
Club head out in front of the hands. It's a very trendy saying. You could arguably say that the club head is out in front of my hands at all times, right? But I think what people are trying to say is it's staying that side of the club head for longer. That's effectively what people are trying to say, as opposed to getting the club head inside the body. Club is still out in front of my hands, isn't it? It's still out in front, but it's not behind the body, or it is behind the body. So what that can lead to for you is that you end up pushing the golf club away, which ends up having no set. Now, if you push down with the left hand and pull up with the right hand, you start to create some set. And you also have a club head that stays out in front of the hands. So try not to push the club away. Try not to keep it in one long line, because that keeps the wrist set out of it. You should be able to get the club head out in front of you by pushing down on the left hand, pulling up on the right hand. That gets the club head up, starts to get it set. But not only that, it keeps the club out in front of the handle and stops it from getting low and inside and maybe shut or maybe open. But that will encourage a bit more wrist set and keep the club head out. Usually one piece takeaways, no wrist set, is the way people encourage golfers to stop the club from swinging inside. Give that a try.
Quick one for you on wrist set, because I've always found people talk about early and late wrist sets, and is there a pattern to whether one might suit one player style than another, or is it just a case of we will naturally set, if you're letting the club swing correctly, that you're going to create a wrist cock at some point, and it's just whenever suits you?
So wrist set comes down to how quick a golfer pulls the handle away. So the quicker someone pulls the handle away, the more they'll tend to drag it.
Yeah.
So the club head will be late. And so therefore they'll tend to set the club up at the top. People that have lots of early set can come from weak grips. So you tend to have lots of early set. And the reason why it's tied in with a weak grip is because when you set the golf club early, it actually gives a golfer an opportunity to throw the head away early as well. When you tend to see people that have no set going back, you tend to see a bit of a download. So the grip type will have an influence on it, and also the speed in which the handle moves away. But either way works. I mean, Davis Love was a late setter of the golf club. No set. And then you look at someone like a Freddie, who was good friends, ironically. Two very different golfers. One had lots of set, one had no set. Both work the golf club well, so there's not one size that fits all. But what we do know is that you need to have a decent amount of set in a downswing to create a decent amount of power through the ball, which they both had. Coming into the ball, they both had a lot of set. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you very much. Just thought I'd throw my own question.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. So BMC 112. Hi guys, could you show the difference in Srixon ZX7 Mark II irons with Modus 120 stiff versus something considerably lighter? Feel like I might need a little more spin. BMC 112 is a member of the channel. Thank you so much for being a member of the channel.
Thank you.
Gets to see all of our content nice and early. Thank you very much.
Right, so I've got the ZX7 with the Modus 120 here.
Love it.
Hit a couple of shots, look at the spin, and then we'll do the same for if I've got something, just to say, considerably lighter.
Considerably.
First swing of the day. Should have gone with the lighter one first. So yeah, Modus 120, softer handle, stable tip, designed around dispersion, but generally fairly strong on spin. The Srixons are quite a strong spin profile here, and by strong we mean low. So, got my back click on the downswing there.
And it was a little out the schnauzer as well.
Slightly toe, yeah. All right, let's see if I can get it relatively near the middle. Solid hit. So, solid hit, left it a bit right. So just going to fade it up a little bit. I'll do one more, try and square it off, because that's probably not quite fair. There we go, that's better. So should see spin 4.6, 4.7, 4.8 there. So on the stronger side of mid, but take that for third swing of the day. So I've got, to compare with that, I've got the nip on the Zealous 8. So we're going 30 grams lighter, which is pretty considerable. Thought keep it in steel. So in principle, lighter shaft you'd expect being softer profile, recovers a little bit more, should give a little bit more spin. I'll try and maintain the delivery as similar as possible. So, we'll say 2 down, 3 down. So what you can see there, I actually got a slightly higher launch out of the modus. 15.7 launch to 16.5, 4.8 on spin. So exactly the same spin rate. So, do one more just to compare there. Covered that a little bit more. 15 launch, 4.7 on spin. So actually, I've got a little bit more angle of attack with the lighter shaft. It's just let me get a little bit more on top of it. But spin hasn't changed. So
you're out of breath though, aren't you?
I'm horribly unfit at the moment, yes. Although I was in the gym on Saturday afternoon.
Were you?
I was, yeah.
Well, looking at yourself, or were you actually
naturally
working out?
muscular frame. Yeah, so what we can see that in principle you think, right, the shaft's going to kick it up and it's going to get lots more launch, lots more spin. But because I've covered it a little bit more, it's actually made no difference to spin. That last shot was a little bit lower. So it's how does the shaft allow you to time your move and get consistency. You're not out of the shaft alone and the way it bends going to see massive changes in ball flight because it's not actually changing the dynamic loft enough to create huge differences in flight. Swing and head style dictate ball flight more than shaft.
Very good, nicely summarised. Hopefully that gave you some insight there, BMC 112. Don't forget we are running our trip to Costa Navarino in May next year. It's filling up nicely. Henny, myself, Lewis and Roger Chapman are captaining teams. If you want to come along, feel free to drop us a line. Again, Stuart at, Simon at, or James at precisiongolf.co.uk. We'll gladly get you signed up for that one. Richard,
I'm surprised you didn't remind us who defending champion is.
Well, I thought I'd leave that to later on in the show.
I'd just bring that one in.
Leave that to later in the show, but I know you've mentioned it, you know. Richard Jagger, hi, what's your thoughts on the Mizuno shaft optimizer and do you use it in fitting sessions? Thanks. Simon loves this question.
So in a word, no we don't. Look, what they've done with it, it's a system to idiot-proof as much as possible. So Mizuno have a selection of shafts that they offer, and the optimizer is meant to measure the load on the shaft, but it doesn't really. It's something that ultimately anything that can throw out a 95 gram shaft or 130 gram shaft for someone, which I've seen it do, is complete tosh. But it gives anyone who has a Mizuno account who gets you to swing, hit 3 shots with that, it gives a start point. But it can't give an answer. It's not physically possible based on what it is for it to give a definite answer because the weight differences and the timing and how that's going to suit how you move and all that side of things is just impossible to measure from a little box on a shaft. But I get why they do it.
Could go all sorts of places with that box on the shaft. Robbo Thomas, hi chaps, fitted by yourselves into Mizuno 223, KBS Tour V110. What would be a shaft and weight to try and wedges? So
in the main, would often go a little bit heavier. So if you're using the Tour Vs and the 110, then either the high rev 2.0 115, which is just a little bit heavier. Actually, the other one that can work well is the standard KBS Tour 120, 10 grams heavier, but they're both a little softer in the tip, both slightly heavier in weight. Normally you'd go a little bit heavier in wedges for the partial swings, but both of those will keep some feel and give you a little bit more weight, but the balance profile of the shaft will stay very consistent.
Great question here by Bama number 1, because I think this is actually for you, this one. He's a good evening, Jay. It's a question for me, but I think this is going to be for you. Every once in a while, I hit a shank. It is only with a
Can only
50.
be once in a while because you can say the word.
Yeah, exactly. He has asterisked it out because he didn't want to actually say it. But and it's only with his 56-degree wedge.
Okay.
Trying to determine the cause. Ideas, cures, please. I mean, the chances are, if it's every once in a while, it's less likely to be technique. I mean, you tend to see if it's only a 56-degree wedge, unless you're playing a speciality shot. It's unlikely that it's going to be technique because you'd shank it more.
Yeah.
I would see it more as an equipment side of things.
And from an equipment side, normally in most wedges, we'll take the Vokeys for example, because they're the one that most people play. Head weight kicks up quite a lot when you go from the 52 to 54. 54 and 56 are 10 grams heavier than the 52. So the balance and the swing weight kick up quite a bit. That could be where it's coming from. You know, the weight gets a bit behind, and then you've got to throw the club at it, and you send the hosel towards the ball. That is the most likely thing from an equipment point. Or lie could be too upright. That's another one. Lie could be too upright. Yeah. Because then the heel catches, and literally, as the face closes in, the ball goes in towards the neck, and then off it goes. But again, if it's once in a while,
exactly,
it's probably the weight.
Yeah, yeah.
From an equipment standpoint.
Or you got out of bed the wrong side, or you went a bit over the speed limit. Could be any number of things.
Socks on the wrong way around.
Yeah, exactly.
Also close. A lot of people go when they want to get control, they go close. So you just stand too close and pipe it.
Yeah, so. The old pipe. Love a pipe. Shane Delmo, hi guys. Can you please do an iron comparison? Mizuno Hot Metal Pro 7 iron versus the Mizuno Fly High 28-degree.
So the Fly High, we don't have in that same kind of system to be able to test out. So we'll hold that one. Where they're doing a little bit of a change around on some bits and pieces at the moment. We'll hold that one. I will try and do that one as and when we can.
Very good.
I'll log that one.
You answered the one from Robbo Thomas about high chaps fitted by yourselves into a Mizuno 223, didn't you?
The one about the
KBS Tour versus... Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I thought we did. Sorry, I was going nuts. Alistair Cuthbertson, again, great to see so many new names. Really, really cool. Currently play TSR3 with a Tensei AV Blue 55 grams stiff at 0.5 or half an inch shorter. Demoed the GT2 with a Tensei 1K Blue 55 grams stiff. These names, and it felt much more responsive through strike in the midsection. Does this make sense?
Yes. So the 1K, the materials are updated, and it's going to be a smoother feel. So you're going to get a little bit more sense of load and kick. It might be that the shorter shaft actually just allows you to balance better and time it better, and therefore actually just get a better strike, and it's going to give a different feel. The head's going to be a different sound, but the 1K materials are a little bit of an upgrade over the AV. So yeah, you're more likely to feel stable tip, but responsive through the midsection due to the shaft quality.
Barney keeps on nodding off whenever I chat. He wakes up for you. Something I have to.
Permanently like that. I might do with both of these on. We're hallucinating.
Doug from my channel says, hi guys, question for Simon. I know there is no substitute for a driver fitting, but if you were really pushed for an answer, what would you consider to be the very best stock shaft question? That's a good question. It's a good question.
Problem with this is that if you did it on material, then some of the brands in the past have actually used really proper versions. So Cobra in the past used a proper Motore X series. It wasn't watered down, it was the proper full fat version.
It was the Sloan Street.
I mean, the Denalis are pretty good. The TXs are a different set of materials, but the Project X Denalis are a pretty good shaft. So those would certainly be right up there. Again, for a stronger swing, the Tensei, the AV Blacks, that's pretty stable too. So those are the ones that are the more proper versions. Generally, if you're in Mitsubishi, Project X with the Hazardous Blacks have always been the proper versions of them, but the Mitsubishis are they aren't a watered down made for job. They are what they call their entry level, but they're a proper, you can get them for aftermarket as well. So the Mitsubishis do tend to be pretty good quality, but I throw the Denali in there as well.
Very good. Very good. Hopefully that answers Doug. Charlie, I will give that a go. Fantastic. Doug, Stu, you must teach Simon to use garbage. I use that on some of my videos. It doesn't suit Simon. Simon's not a garbage kind of guy.
Well, it depends.
So when I talk about like people talking about inside out swing, I say that's garbage, and I say that a few times, and people have kind of grabbed it. But I like using it. But anyway,
this is in reference to Tosh.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So Gary Satterfield is on. Nice to see Gary on. My sister doesn't need to comment now. Hey guys, long time no see. Stu, what would be your best advice for getting rid of tension in your golf swing? The main thing that has really helped me relax more is knowing where the ball is going. Good question. I mean,
that is a good way to relax. That's for sure.
Absolutely. When it's going straight, it helps. Very strange drill, this one. And grab the golf club in your right hand or left hand, whatever your most dominant hand is. And the object of the exercise is to be able to move the handle and keep the head as still as possible. Now, if your grip pressure is tight, you'll move the handle and you'll make the club head come with you. When you start to lighten the grip off, you can move the handle around. Can you see how the head stays in the same spot? You can also grip the club tight and still keep the head there. That pressure on the grip that's allowing you to move the handle and keep the head in the same space is the kind of pressure and softness you need to feel through your wrists.
Reminds me of 1990s computer games with the joystick.
Yeah, joystick. Daley Thompson's Decathlon.
Yeah.
Daley Thompson's Decathlon. That was just the most...
Much easier to use a joystick than two.
X and Y.
Anyway, this is probably old school.
Anyway, so hopefully that helps you.
So on the Amstrad.
Amstrad 124k, 128k I had, with the floppy disk that pushed in, Louis, hi guys. What do you think of lab putters?
So lab putters, they're designed being torque balanced and bounced around the lie angle of the shaft. For holing out, very, very good. I think for short, very quick greens and holing out, very good. The only question mark I have over them, based on the pace of the greens we generally have over here, and I know people who've used them who say, yes, this is where they fall down a bit, is on the lag putting. You can lose a bit of feel for the putter face, but for holing out, if that's where your main issues are, they are generally pretty good. They do not hold the face on line. However, they take out any gearing that the mass of the head exerts around the shaft. So it allows you on short putts to keep nice and stable and square back and through. However, longer putts, you can lose the face a little bit.
Very good. Andrew Hommant, a huge thanks to Nick S for an amazing full bag fit 2 weeks ago. That's really great to hear. An incredible service, never felt rushed, and an amazing advice. Can't wait to order my ZX5s and ZX7s combo set very soon. Fantastic to hear.
If you do want to go ahead with those, do order very soon, because ZX5's stock is running down. They are out of a couple of heads. So I have to say the word allegedly. There will be an update ahead in the new year, but they are getting low on stock on some items.
Oh, Simba Smith, my apologies, please. Hi guys, I'm planning on scheduling a full bag fitting with yourself soon. However, is it better to get fit sooner as you have more knowledge on current products, or wait until the new release cycle?
That's actually a really good question. We're at that point of the year now where Mark's in the background searching out shafts and things for someone who's in the fitting bay at the moment. We've got to know the current products really, really well. So there is a very strong argument to say, well, get fitted in the second half of the year cycle, because the more people we see hitting them, the more info we can gather, and the more we can dial in why certain heads work for certain swings and not. The only thing we're getting to now is we're getting into that time period where some models will start to go out of cycle, readying for new launches in the new year. So, but that's a really good point. When the products are really new, we're discovering them a little bit. We do our own testing, but ultimately there is no substitute for seeing different swing styles, hitting them, and starting to see trends and work out why they perform a certain way based on the structures and the tech behind them. So, there's a very strong argument to say do it September, October time rather than February, March, and then get used to them over the winter and then have them ready to go in the new year.
Very good.
Great question.
Yeah, BMC 112. Brilliant. Thanks, guys. Our pleasure. Mr. Titleist. First of all, Mr. Titleist, you need to let us know how long ago you got Mr. Titleist on YouTube, because there must be Titleist going, oh, how did he get rid of that? So let us know. That's quite an interesting handle. Evening, gents. Can you please explain lies in rough? Often hear radar say it's a flyer lie and so on. What does this mean? Like when to take some off or to take an extra club from the rough? Well, flyer lies are when the grass grabs around the club head and acts as a cushion between the club head and the golf ball. That cushion takes the spin off the golf ball. So what happens is the ball still feels the launch of the golf ball and the speed, a little bit less, but speed. But because the spin is less, the ball has less resistance in the air and the ball goes further. The reality is spin makes the ball go shorter. The more spin you have, the more resistance the ball has, so it doesn't cut through the air as fast. So when you have a low spinning iron shot, if you've got the launch with the loft, but you haven't got the spin, it just goes straight through it. So the beauty of when you're playing golf for a living is that A, you have a caddy who's played for a long time, he reads the lie, but ultimately the player reads the lie. So you go around the world playing all in different types of grass, because different types of grass will change the flyer lie, and they'll be able to estimate what that will be, whether they'll take one club off, two clubs off, who knows, but they read the lie. Something that amateurs don't really do. They go in the rough. And the big change is between season. You go from being in the summertime, which is dry like hay on the semi-rough. It really, compounds that problem and goes a long way. You then get into autumnal winter golf. You don't really get that much of a fly because there's still quite a bit of friction between face and ball, and you don't get that energy that you do with the spin. So hopefully that's got a bit of insight on the flyer.
I'd say if the grass is growing towards the target and there's grass sort of on the back of the ball, the face isn't going to get to the ball. That's generally a flyer. If it's growing into, it's just hard to get through. It's going to come out a bit dead. But if you're going with the grass, you're more likely to get a flyer than not. But it is a guess.
But you're absolutely right. It's a loose rule of thumb, because you can apply that rule. And sometimes it comes out like a cabbage, and then sometimes when it's blowing into you, when the grass is into you, it can come out dead, and then next time it comes out really hot. But again, if you read the lies, you'll know, if the grass is a little bit dry, it's definitely going to jump. If the grass is a bit green and juicy, it's more than likely going to come out soft. But this is what you build up over years of playing the game, right? Playing in there and having a good strike, and a good strike compounded by the problem with the spin. Interesting stuff. Good question. Noel 19_88. How's things, gents? Question for both of you. What is the one thing you could recommend when the round isn't going quite the way you would hope?
I think one thing is to maybe do a bit of hopefully the halfway hut.
James's idea is the halfway house.
But I think there is an element where, of not getting ahead of yourself and going, might have had a, poor couple of holes. Just reset expectations and remember, most of us, yes, we want to win tournaments and play well, but actually you're generally out there and enjoy yourself. So make sure you kind of remind yourself you're out there for a bit of fun, ultimately. But I think it's don't put too much pressure on yourself. Just take it hole by hole. It sounds really sort of stereotype thing that everyone says, but don't look too far ahead. Just maybe simplify your shot selections. Swing smoother. Don't try and force it. Just pick a simpler shot. Don't try and go for the hero shot the whole time. Simplify it down. That would be my thought.
I think as golfers, we turn up to the golf course and we are told how to feel. I think you stand on the first tee, you rip one down the middle, you go, yes, I'm going to play well today. Then you hit a bad one, then you go, crap, I'm not going to play well. Every single shot is determining how you're feeling. So you hit 10 shots in a row that are bad, all of a sudden you've changed the way you feel about the day. Go into the day with some decent expectations and decent application of how you want to feel about shots. A great anecdote is, if you've ever read Bob Rotella books, Fred Couples goes to Bob Rotella, he said, Bob, I want your help. So Bob goes to Freddie, he says, Freddie, tell us what you think about when you're going through a shot. Let's say you're hitting an 8-iron from the middle of the fairway. Freddie goes, well, what I do, Bob, is I have a practice swing and I picture and feel the best ever 8-iron I've ever hit. Bob Rotella goes, Freddie, keep doing that, pal. There's the door. So what he's basically saying is he thinks about the best ever shot he has ever hit when he's standing over a shot. How many of you do that? And how many of you allow the bad shot to interfere how you feel? So set the precedent, set how you want to feel, whether you see a good one or bad one. Don't let that to distract you in the same way an architect is trying to distract you off the tee with bunkers and grass, high grass and trees and whatever. Set how you want to feel, good or bad shot. Keep to that same mantra, and I think you won't find yourself in these troughs that you're talking about when it's not going quite so well, or you'll certainly have more resilience. Yeah.
I think the one thing we all do as golfers is we watch the top players on TV and we expect to play that way, which is ludicrous because they're the best players in the world. So I think setting realistic expectations on what the score is going to be or what you're trying to do, and don't judge yourself too harshly if you're not hitting perfect shots, because look at Spain, Rahm's in the rough and Guerrier's putting it out of bounds and Campillo's sticking it in the water, and they're at the top of the leaderboard. So don't set your goals the same level as tour players, because you're just going to be disappointed.
Yep. Tony, by the way, evening guys, evening Tony, nice to have you with us again. Are you able to get Wedge Works Vokey heads?
Yes.
Next question.
In a word.
Nicely done. Gary Satterfield says, thanks for the tip on rhythm. Charlie, okay, so ideas on top of backswing. Do you think that is perfect place to be? Pros seem to be in lots of different positions. Okay, ideas on top of backswing. Well, look, that's a long conversation. Idea on top of backswing. Go watch some of my content on top of backswing, and that will help you out. That's for sure. Michael Montgomery, hi Stu. What drills would you suggest to fix an over-the-top swing that pull draws the ball? I've tried making the grip stronger, but that results in more left. Okay, so over the top and pull draws. So normally anything starting left, if it starts left with bend left, you're on a decent track. So over the top is what you're talking about. And then you've got a club face that's close to that path. So you hit that pull draw down to the left-hand side. So we'll see the club path outside in, and then we'll see the face to path value close. So we've got a club path of outside in 4 degrees, and then we've got a face to path value of -12. Now let's say you've got that negative face to path of 12 that you've talked about regarding your new grip. Simply grab the golf ball and go crazy. Put the ball too far back in your stance. So put it back of center. Now what you're going to do, you're going to start to meet that golf ball more on the way in, more on this track of path. So you'd start to meet it on the way in here, because ultimately all we need to do as golfers is to meet the golf ball with a face, depending on whether you want to hit a draw or a fade. You want to meet the ball either with a closed face to the path to make the ball bend left, or an open face to the path to make the ball bend right. Everyone wants to see it different. Some people like to see a fade, some people like to see a draw. So depending on which one you want to be, if you want to draw, tend to get yourself a slightly stronger fade, a stronger grip. If you want to see a fade, get a slightly weaker grip. Then all you need to do is meet the golf ball in the part of the arc that is going to help you create that bend. And so the yellow golf ball, let's say, is being met in the middle of the circle. So you meet it in the middle of the circle, you would need a perfectly straight face to the path. That would send you with a dead straight shot. Now, if you've got yourself a pull draw, what you're doing is you're meeting the golf ball too much in that part of the circle. So there's the circle, you're meeting it on the way back inside with a face that's closed, which is the shot that I just demonstrated on the screen. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the golf ball in that part of the arc. Okay, so I'm now going to move these golf balls out of the way. I'm going to meet it on the way in. So I've now put my ball back in my stance. I now have that stronger grip with a closed face to path, and all of a sudden the path line will approach the ball from the inside. TrackMan didn't get the data. Let's try that
Have
again.
a little bit more,
Yeah, a bit more there. So ball back in the stance. I've got the face to path still closed. I meet it slightly earlier in the circle. So now all of a sudden the path is coming from the inside because I've met it earlier in the circle with the face close to the path, and the ball will draw. That is the most simple way of fixing a pull draw. If you've got a true pull draw, but normally when people pull the ball with a straight shot, normally they see it bending to the left. Normally though, the path gets outside in with a square face when you've got an open face coming into the golf ball because the golfer's trying to close it over. And that's when you get those pulls. So I would double check your grip is right, and then put the ball back. If you've got that pull hook, put the ball back in your stance. That will straighten it up. And then once you've played with that shot for a little while, let everything settle down, reassess and go from there. But go back to that grip, put the ball back in your stance a little bit, get the ball drawing at the target, and I think you'll find A, you'll have more distance, B, you'll have a better angle of attack, and C, you'll have a much better strike. Hopefully that helped. All right. Let's go back to our one. Let's go back to our one. Lots of questions on here. Mike T. Sorry, Tony, by the way. Guys, I changed the grip. Perfect. Yeah, so BMC112 asks, guys, I changed grips on my ZX7 to a Tour wrap, which I think are a bit heavier. Would this make a significant difference over the Tour Velvet? Good question.
If it's a mid-size, yes. But if it's standard size, no. If it's mid-size, yes. Tour Velvet mid-size is 55, 57 grams. The CP2 is about 60, 62, I think, off the top of my head. So that's going to make about a swing weight point variable. But it shouldn't be much more than that. If it's a standard size grip, then it won't affect it in the slightest.
Very good.
If it's a jumbo, then it'll be a massive amount because the CP2s in a jumbo are 80 grams.
Oh, really?
And the Tour Velvet in the jumbo is about 61.
I mean, we have this question quite a bit, don't we? I've changed to mid-size, oversize.
Yeah.
The understanding of the counterbalance you've now made of the head weight is
Chap in
huge.
this afternoon had a CP2 jumbo on, and when I told him that the grip nearly weighed the same amount as the shaft.
Oh my God, really?
He just added 30 grams to the grip.
Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, just a huge counterweight, and so the club was getting stuck behind, and he was hitting a flippy hook, and we went 5 grams lighter in shaft, but we went 25 grams lighter in grip, and he's hitting a soft draw rather than a rope
slinger.
So,
yeah, very good. Mike T, what short game changes would you make for wet and soft conditions?
Personally, I just pray. No,
yeah, wet and soft conditions. I mean, ultimately, you're really leaning on having a really good control of the height of your circle and your angle of attack. So I would always feel like you're using your legs a bit more in your short game. So feeling like you're pushing up off the ground. It's so easy to start to get a bit diggy. You're giving way underfoot. Handle gets driven at the golf ball. So I would always really try to feel like you're almost practicing like you're going to hit shots on concrete. So you're going to feel like you're picking yourself up and clipping it off the top. That's the easiest way to go about it. There's a lot more to it than that, but that would be the quickest tip to help you in the wet weather. It's not a pleasant experience. I mean, you get a tight, wet lie, it's like, well, again, I'll tell you a little anecdote. There's a guy called Roger Winchester. He used to play on tour, a very good player. And I saw him for it was the first time I saw someone play a wedge shot in winter. He played it like a bunker shot. So it was by the edge of the green, opened the face up, and he played it like a bunker shot. Because the ground's so wet, it's a bit sat down, play it like a bunker shot, the ground breaks up like it does sand. And as long as you get the right interaction with the mud, it's going to play like a bunker shot because it's just a bit heavy, wet sand. That, if you get into real strife, that would be the way to go. I mean, you can't do that for a chip shot, of course. But if you're in a bit of an unsavoury lie around the green, a bit worm-casty, a bit claggy, that would be the way to go. The members will go, what on earth are you doing if it doesn't come off? Because there'll be mud everywhere. But when you pull it off and you hit this high parachute shot, it's a cracker to play.
So I think the thing to remember when it's wet and claggy is that the ball's going to stop quicker when it lands. You haven't got to be as delicate. So I'm guilty of getting handle forward and steep.
But I think everyone's guilty of that at this time of
so
year,
what I'll
right?
do is go down a club and open it up to give yourself a bit more bounce, to give yourself a little bit more of a buffer to take the leading edge away from the turf. and just let it come in a bit lower because it's gonna stop quicker. So you don't have to be as delicate. You can throw it at the flag a bit more on trying to stop it running out. But that would be one tactic I would use.
And it's great. I mean, I think we forget, 4 seasons in our country, we forget when we go, oh, it's really wet out there. Well, you've been playing wet ground for like 2 months and you've only just worked it out. Sometimes we forget to adjust quick enough, So sometimes just take a step back, go around a second. I can't play these same shots as you rightly say that I was playing in the summertime, right? Michael Mannion, I've been offered a QI10 3-wood. Are they any good?
Yeah, and the tailor-made for fairwoods have always been very good. The Tour QI10 Tour is a low spin, lower launch, quite unforgiving in relative terms, but it's a bit of a bomber. Generally suits harder hit and higher speed players. What they call the core model, the standard QI10, generates a little bit of flight, but generally quite lower spin, so quite a powerful flight. But yeah, they've always been really good fairway woods.
Carlo Cosentino. Hi guys, great job. How long does it take? This is a good question. How long does it take for a graphite shaft to lose its characteristics and need to be replaced?
The true answer to that is if it wears on your bag and it breaks because of that. A graphite shaft, if you think about the structure of it, if you get a good grade shaft, you have many layers of graphite and resin and bonding. You either have to put it in a blast furnace, or to lose that structure, it's got to be exceptionally extreme temperatures. But you're not gonna, over time it might soften an absolute minuscule amount. You are not going to overload and overwork and ruin that shaft by overuse. Like, if Henrik Stenson can't do it to his 3-wood shaft, you can't do it to one. If it's got a fault, it will break. It's not going to soften and become unusable over time.
Yeah, brilliant. Good question here by Kev T. Hi Stuart, as like many of us who don't have time to warm up before the first tee, what would you do to warm up? Well, we've got a great 5-minute warm-up video that Kate, our S&T girl here, did. I'm sure James will be able to find the link for it and he'll pop it up on the channel. It's a great TheraBand warm-up. That would be the best way to go. 5 minutes, be great for you. That would be the way to go. So it save you hitting balls. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely great question. Jack Horner.
A lot of it's mobility.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mobility.
Hi Stuart, is a problem if the shaft is slightly laid off at the top of the backswing? Absolutely not. It's the best place to be. I feel it happens to me in an effort to pull the handle forward in transition. Is there any way to stop this? No, keep the layoff.
Work for Ray Floyd.
Absolutely. Thanks for the sponsor. I'll use that tomorrow at the range. Oh, we just talked about, Michael, about the over the top. Okay, very good. Andrew, we've done that one. Have we done that one? Yes, we have. Sorry, there's lots of different questions coming in here. It skips to the bottom, and then I can't remember where I am. There we are. That was that one there. Shako, that's the way. Shako, really enjoy the show. Thanks. Good to have you with us, and nice to have those compliments. Could you hit a Titleist G2 or a GT3 fairway wood and compare it to a Cobra Dark Speed XF fairway wood, and point out the differences?
Certainly.
The man loves hitting balls. He loves hitting balls. Loves it. Doug, when I played on course, which was prone to being wetter and claggy, I switched to a 16-degree bounce on my 56. You can't get too diggy with that much bounce. Very good. Very good insights there from young Doug. We are here every week. Now look, you can't get better than Simon's knowledge anywhere on the internet. That we know. And as far as golf coaching comes, I'm your man. So Monday nights here, 6 p.m. Tell all your mates, join us. And we're having a live show on the 20th of December here in the studio. Barney's going to be here. Be running around, and we're going to do a live show. James will be here as well. We'd love you to come along. So drop us a line, Stuart@precisiongolf.co.uk. James at precisiongolf.co.uk and Simon at precisiongolf.co.uk if you would like to be here. It's going to be 6 till 8 p.m. Friday the 20th. You're more than welcome. Mince pies.
Stuart's going to dress up as an elf, as you said earlier.
No, we said reindeer.
Reindeer? Okay.
I may do elf, but I'm a little bit tall for an elf.
I'd like to see you swinging a golf club dressed like a reindeer. Barney's looking at us going, you two are idiots.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is. Right, GT2. So GT2's a little bit more mid-launch, GT3's a little bit lower launch. So we'll get a couple of shots with this. Oh, it's hard work this evening. 800. I practiced yesterday, and look at that. I've necked that. Spun loads.
Practice
Right,
is overrated. Told you that before.
Yeah. So GTs, what they've done this year, lighter crown. They've made a real effort. That was a bit high on the face. Real effort to improve for someone who's more of a picker and catches it lower on the face. That one got a little bit. I got that under a little bit, and it took the spin off. But plenty of launch. So the GTs this year are more. The 2 is more of an upper mid launch, mid spin. GT3 is still a little bit flatter, but generally easier to get airborne than previous Titleist, but erring towards a stronger spin profile.
That's a nice looking head.
Yeah, very classic, very simple. Yeah, you can see all the face really well.
Yeah.
But generally, yeah.
What loft's on that song?
15.
15. Okay. That's a nice looking head, that. I like that.
So something the Cobra has been good for this year has been keeping a little bit of flight and spin. I've got to remember which.
Give us a like and a share while you're here. There's a few of you on. In fact, we have over 100 of you on at the moment, which is fantastic. Give us a like and a share. That'd be fantastic.
So Cobra, a little less obvious on the grooves. They haven't filled them in. So what Titleist have always done with their fairways, they fill in the grooves white so you can see the face. Dark Speed X has been good fairway this year, but generally, we'll see what that does it now, but generally a slightly higher flight, higher spin.
That ball's a long way forwards.
Not if you fat it.
The ball's a long way forwards in your stance this summer.
That might be why I fatted it.
Maybe. There you go, that's a bit better.
Right. So, should see, yeah, more of a, still fairly mid-spin. I think this is a head, we've seen the Cobra, it's been better than previous models. If you go back to something, I think it was the F8 that was a really good head. And it's taken them a little bit of time to get back to that. But generally, I found the Cobra is good for mid-launch and keeping a bit of spin on. Titleist head actually launches a little bit higher, but errs towards being a little bit stronger on spin. So slightly different trajectories, but been a good head this year.
Okay, so we've got 12 minutes left.
God, we've only got 12 minutes left.
We have got a lot of questions.
Quick draw with roll.
And there's 2 on my channel, and there's about 100 on your channel. So are you up for it?
Yep.
Right. Let's do this. Let's get everyone in. Papa Mike T. Also, would you change to a less expensive ball for winter conditions versus Pro V1?
Might as well. It's really annoying when a Pro V1 plugs in the fairway and you lose it.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Shako, how much difference between TSR and GT drivers will you see in the real world on the course?
GT's probably slightly better out the heel, but ultimately I am not changing mine. It's maybe three or 4 yards, slightly better spin consistency with the GT.
I like that kind of speed. That's going to get us through. Mr. Titleist.
It's a change, doesn't it?
No, it's good. Everybody loves your insights. It's fantastic. Mr. Titleist, great answer, men. Thanks. I joined YouTube back in 2010 and was actually surprised the name wasn't being used. I'm a bit of a Titleist nerd. I love Titleist too. And if Titleist want to contact me, I'm open to negotiate. Very good.
Negotiate hard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Horse racing legends, lovely to see you. You patched my question. Passed it, did I? Sorry. Sorry. Oh, right, sorry. Better luck next week, maybe. Great show as always, quality content and easy to understand explanations.
Very kind, thank you very much.
Yeah, lovely. Cliff Hackett, Simon, looking forward to our fairway wood fitting in November. Could you explain the quality difference between the standard Acra shafts and the Shogun range? Are they both low resin, high carbon content? I mean, how do people know this? Low resin? I mean, goodness me.
So basically, the Acro shafts are all very good grade materials, but the Shogun, they basically just gone there with it. They've said, look, this is the best materials we can get. So they've gone finer layers, lighter materials, more layers. So more layers relative to resin, which means smoother feel, more consistency, more stable, but more responsiveness.
Very good. Eric Wallace, hi guys, love this live content, so do we, and we're glad you enjoy it too. Not sure if you guys did this already, but the AI Smoke Mini versus TaylorMade Burner Mini, strictly off the tee, which is better? Any time to do a demo? Appreciate y'all.
We can't, because we haven't, the Burner Mini we don't have, because that sold out no time at all. They didn't produce any more, so by the time it was launched, they sold everything. We couldn't get any. We had very good results with the AI Smoke Mini off the tee. Strong on spin, but the burner's been pretty good as well. I think for forgiveness, I think I would edge it slightly on the Callaway side of things, though.
Bammer number one, following on the lines of the graphite shaft question, can cold weather increase the brittleness of TaylorMade Stealth driver face and cause cracking? Thanks again.
I think with the layers of composite that they've got on that, no. I think so. You've got to go so extreme, unless you play in Alaska in the winter. You might do then, but no. I think because of the nature of the materials, the temperature extremes have to be so big, and with that many layers, they would have to be so big to affect it. But there will be some effect, but I think it'd have to be very extreme temperatures.
Charlie, question for Simon: 90-mile-an-hour driver swing. Should it be a regular shaft?
It depends on the shaft. and what feel you want. Some players, some shafts that are designed as stiffer profiles, you could quite feasibly play a regular flex, or even softer with some of them. But ultimately, if you like a feeling, a bit of kick, you'll prefer the softer feel of a reg. If you like a more stable feel, i.e. if your miss is normally an overdraw, then the stiffer feel is going to be more comfortable.
Gal Palank, what in your expertise makes Cobra Limited irons so forgiving? I remember Titleist 718 TMB irons having the same amount of tungsten in the heel and toe, still being much more demanding.
If you're talking about the 3D printed ones, because the frame, the center of the head is just that much lighter. So the Cobras have actually gone there and got even more mass into the heel and the toe. I think the limited were they've got lighter, gone lighter in the center than anyone else. Therefore, there's more perimeter weighting than anyone else. BMC
112 mid-sized tour wrap. Cheers.
Yeah. So about a point and a half would be the difference, swing weight.
Chris Powell, hi chaps, thoughts on the stack system? Stack system, if you don't know, is about increasing club speed. Don't go into that if you are any way prone to injury or have got any suspect. Make sure that you are fit. Be my guest. Blast away. But be aware that there's a lot of guys now that don't go for more club head speed. People like Rory, Bryson, because the ball was going more offline. So.
Yeah, but I think for those guys, I can understand that. And I've always said that everyone says you want the more distance you can get, most distance you can get. But actually, for any amateur I get in here, I would say hit more fairways.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I'd say if you want to gain speed, it's better to do it not trying to hit the ball, just to build your general speed development rather than trying to hit a ball straight as well.
Andrew Homan, what's the best advice to improve stroke with woods? My woods swing during my bag fit was untidy at best and need to work on more sweeping strike. Any tips so I can come back and buy some woods? It depends on where your ball is bending. If your ball is bending left, you'll tend to hit down because you're swinging the path to the left. So I would suggest you want to try to make your ball bend more left, which will then give you a bit more of an opportunity to sweep it off the turf and get a bit more from the inside. So look for your grip first. Go check out my grip series. That will really help you. And also a few tips on angle of attack through my channel as well. Both those two things. Grip, angle of attack will sort out that sweeping nature for fairway woods and driver.
See someone for a lesson.
Yeah.
Ultimately, the best players in the world have them. We all should do as well.
Yep. Stu Brister, hi gents, any good coaching tips for getting feel and distance on putting dialed in if you lose it? Put a alignment stick 2 feet behind the hole, put 2 balls at 20 feet, 2 balls at 40 feet, 2 balls at 60 feet, putt to the hole. You can't make the ball pop over the alignment stick that's 2 feet behind the hole. Anything short is a bogey. Anything over the alignment stick is a double bogey. Anything in the hole or in the box is a birdie or par. Score yourself, do those 6 balls, and then you have a score. Work as much as you can, right to left as left to right. But that's a good little drill to work on speed on the greens.
The other one I'd say is actually have a reference putting, stroke length to go to gauge the pace of the green. So some people use the outside of their feet as a stroke length, so that when you go on a new green or a new day, if it's rained or whatever, how far that goes relative to a standard set of conditions. Granted, you need a kind of a reference marker for it. But that would also be a way of knowing where the greens are that day. And by the way, I hope the wedding plans are going well, Stuart.
Richard Skinner, when I take long putts, the ball jumps off the putter face. Any advice? Could be hitting up, could be hitting down, could be doing any number of things. Really difficult to say because angle of attack and loft have 2 big ingredients on launch of the putter. So you need to find out what your angle of attack is with your putter. You need to find out how open or closed your putter head is at strike and where you're meeting the ball in the arc. Those 3 ingredients will dictate where the launch is on your putter.
Yeah, it could be too low, or you could be, too little launch and too much launch to get it jumping. So get that checked out for sure.
Charlie March, looking for a driver head with smaller profile like the QI10, LS TSR3, Callaway TD, but I need the launch and spin of more forgiving head. Any suggestions?
Actually, the best bet, go back to an older head that'll retain a bit more spin. One of the older Titleists, something like a TSI, that'll retain a little bit more spin. That would be a good way to do it.
Anderman 1970, I really struggle with a 3-wood off the deck. Any tips would be greatly appreciated. Make sure that the ball goes back in your stance enough. If you hit more down on it, you'll knuckle the flight out of the sky. Once you start to get the ball going straighter by meeting it slightly earlier in the arc, i.e. getting a better contact, if the ball is cutting, make the club face a bit more closed. You need to have downstrike with anything off the floor. If the wood is not right for you, that's where you'll then start to have a compromise in your dynamics. But ultimately, 3-wood on the floor is the hardest club in the bag, and it will not lower your scores. That is nuts and bolts. If you are 250 yards out and you're taking a 3-wood off the ground, you are a lunatic. Get yourself a 5-iron, whack it down the fairway, get yourself a wedge and then knock it on. And don't worry yourself about trying to get your 3-wood right off the floor. It's such a difficult club and will not lower your scores. It'll just put you in more strife. But if you do want to improve it, you've got to hit down, as I say, lots or little loft. So you want to make sure you're hitting down first and then get the strike. If the flight is bending right or bending left, fix that second, but get the strike first. So get the ball a bit further back. That would be the best way to go.
From a club point of view, if you're hitting it well and it's going straight and it's coming out low, then you shouldn't be using a 3-wood. Go to a 5-wood.
Yep, very good.
And you'll get the flight.
Yeah. Looking for a driver head with a smaller profile like the QI10 LS. I've done that one. Yep, sorry about that. Chat GPT. Hi chaps, is tipping my 9-wood by 2 inches a viable option to replace my 6 hybrid? I need to cover the 185, 190 meter distance, which is in between my 7-iron and 7-wood. I need something higher launching than my hybrid.
A 9-wood will launch higher than the hybrid. So, the tipping side of it, you don't need to worry about too much. Depending on the shaft, tip it a little bit, certainly about 1 inch or so. 2 inches may not need to go that much, maybe 1.5 inches. But yeah, the 9 with the head profile will get the ball up quicker than the 6 hybrid and carry it further as well.
Harry Pye, I currently play a C6 blue in my 3-wood and love it. I want to play a 7-wood as well. Will it be safe to bet to put same shaft in and have it perform the same, or do I need to get fitted again?
It should be fine. It should be fine. It's generally very strong players. The tall players sometimes go up a little bit in weight into the most lofted woods, but for 95% of amateurs that I've ever seen, same shaft through is the right way to go.
Lewis Keynes, hi Stuart. What with your step back and rotate drill? What is that keeps the club approaching from the inside? Is it the wrist angles mainly keeping the right wrist bent back? The path comes from the inside because of where you are in space. If you are inside of the ball line with your body as you step back, you are making your circle stay inside the ball line, so you will approach from the inside. If you've got leverage and you've got angles in your downswing, wrist angles, you will again have the club approaching from the inside. That step back drill will make you rotate more. The step back drill might not be what you need to apply. So if it's having a detrimental effect, stop it, go think of something else to try, because it should fix whatever you're trying to fix pretty much straight out the bag. So if you're not having positive results with it, it's the wrong drill for you. That's the only trouble with YouTube. You've got to ferrule around in there to find out what you believe to be the problems that you're experiencing. And I think that's the tricky thing with looking online. Yeah, we've got time for one more question because we're at the 7 o'clock mark.
Flown.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris S. Who is a good fit for the KBS Tour V110 stiff iron shafts? I'm about a 90-mile-an-hour 7-iron speed and want something a bit more robust than my Nippon 950 GHs.
I mean, there are any number of players. Generally, the KBS Tours and Tour Vs aren't that tip heavy, so you wouldn't be someone who generally pulls hard on the handle, more of a rotation based player. The 110s are very much a mid-weight, but they're quite stable. So if you want something definitely more stout than the Nippon 950s, for sure, you're putting another 15 grams in and a stiffer tip. So if you want something that's going to be heavier and more stable but not feel hard work to swing, then Tour V potentially a sound option, but I would always say, ideally find something you can try on, because we could be way off as well. So yeah, I hope that answered it.
Very good.
Yeah.
As usual, we've really appreciated all of the questions that you throw our way. It makes the show, and hopefully we can encourage more of you to share our Monday Night Lives with more of your friends, and maybe let them ask some questions so that they can get a little bit more out of the game. Busy week again for you?
Yeah.
Lots of fitting?
This one got seeing a few of next year's products this week. That'll be interesting.
Fantastic. We've got young Barnabas on the show. We're going to bring him in. James is going, Barney, come here. Young Barnabas was sitting down there and he's been asleep on and off. But he's very, very quiet, aren't you, sweetheart? He's matured beautifully. If you saw him right back at the start, he was an absolute lunatic, but he's always good company. He sits down the back of my bay, he sort of falls asleep. And he knows at the end of each lesson, because I shake people's hand, he jumps off the couch and he comes and says hi. So, how's little Doris?
Very good. Yeah, very good. Starting to calm. Doesn't bite my hand as much as she used to. So calming down.
Yeah.
Year and a bit now. So great. Love it. Yeah. Looking forward. Christmas will be fun this year.
Yeah. Big time. As we say, Friday the 20th December, we're going to have a live audience. So do drop us an email, stuart@precisiongolf.co.uk, and we'll get you sent out a little invitation. From Simon and I, we really, really appreciate you coming along and being part of this YouTube journey with both Precision Golf and Good Golf Coaching. Thank you so much for all of your positive comments as well. Have a great week. Look forward to seeing you next. Bye for now.